Hi everyone, this is another video where I'll be sharing with you some insights I have about life, and today's video is about 8 tips for solo traveling. I would like to make a disclaimer that I'm not an expert in this and all these are my own opinions and the way I view it as most productive to myself. And if you have other tips, feel free to share them in the comments because I would think it would greatly benefit other people who are pursuing the same things too. Peace. So the first tip is to know what type of traveler you are. I think it works differently for different people, but for me, I'm a type of person that likes to adapt to situations more. So I don't really like to have a lot of structure, a lot of things holding me back in my life. So the minimum I must do is definitely flights and accommodation. I must settle that in advance, and the rest of it, as much as my itinerary, the places to visit, I will adapt and plan as I go. I know of my other friends who totally do it in a very structured way, which is where they will create an Excel sheet and the exact timing of where they will be at and what kind of outfit would they wear. So whatever fits your boat, but you need to know what kind of person you are and how you want to plan this travel for yourself. My second tip, as much as it sounds contradicting, is to have a backup plan and to have a backup plan on top of the backup plan. Yes. So as much as I'm someone who hates planning too much, I'm always the most unprepared person. I wouldn't say so, but compared to all my friends around me, somehow all my friends just happen to be great planners around me. That's why they can cover up on the places I'm lacking. But what I mean is that you are in a foreign country and a million things could happen to you, a million things could go wrong, and whatever you are used to, whatever you are comfortable in, it's different for you when you're in a foreign country. So you need to have more resources so that you can adapt. By resources, I actually mean money. As someone who don't plan very well, I've learned this the hard way, and I'm telling you that you need to plan well, not for everything, but especially for finances and accommodation. Especially if you're the type who intend to book your accommodation last minute, like if your travel is gonna be across different areas and you kind of haven't fixed your itinerary, you want to look around as you go, please have more backup plans, because I would say that the accommodations in different countries really vary, and I've been in situations where it was so hard for me to find accommodations and the price hiked up so much, and for me to find a place to stay for the night and not end up being on the streets, I literally had to pay a high price for it. The third point is that you need to know what is the purpose of your trip, aka what do you like to do. Be specific. Don't just say, I want to make new experiences, travel, and learn more about myself. Be specific. Are you there for the culture, the food, the community, the shopping, whatever it is? You need to be there for one or at least a few purposes that you are very sure of. This will help you to save a lot of time and money and make sure you go to the right places. After traveling for a while, sometimes I end up in places where everyone would recommend just because the fact that it's popular or it's highly recommended for tourists. And a big example would be Disneyland, where I really didn't enjoy myself and it was expensive. But maybe majority of the world love Disney and I just don't, and I just didn't enjoy myself. I should have trusted myself and not been there in the first place. So make sure you know exactly what you like and what you're there for. For me, my main purpose is to dance and to indulge in myself in the culture, the community, and sometimes sightsee in nature. So I will plan my trips mostly around sites and try to make more friends, more local friends, so that they can show me the best spots in town. Tip number 4, a very, very important tip, and it's not so tough for me because I think I'm so used to being the Lone Ranger since I'm the only child and I've been doing things alone my whole life. But tip number 4 is don't be afraid to do things alone, which I know many of you are. I can say this because the number of things I've done alone on this trip makes me so proud of myself, honestly. Going to the theme park, the county fair, SeaWorld, movie, restaurants, all alone. And if you're wondering why is it so easy for me to do it, actually it's not easy. A lot of times I actually second doubt myself whether I should go for it since it's alone and I'm not sure if I would have as much fun. But the idea of missing out on this experience just because of my fear of being alone, no. Yeah, and most of the time, I mean almost all the time after I ended up going for it, I have so much fun even though I'm alone, and I didn't regret it at all. So I'm telling you, you need to go for it. Even if you're alone and you're afraid of regrets, go for it. Tip number 5 is to be open in making friends. Kind of linked to the point earlier, especially if you're into local culture and you want to immerse yourself more greatly into the local scene, be open to meeting friends. Meeting new people overseas has been one of the best things that has ever happened in my life, because I kind of planned this trip alone and I didn't know about it, but by meeting friends and having fun with people I've met is like a huge bonus in my travel life, because you have the flexibility of doing things with your friends. I do admit that there are some activities that are more fun when you do it with a group of people, yeah. And then you also have the flexibility, you have time alone where you don't need to follow the schedule of someone else, and you have all the flexibility to do things at your own pace. This is hard to come by if you're planning to travel with your friend. I know a lot of times we don't have two perfect similar personalities, right? So it's really hard for your interests to not clash, and it's hard for you to want to go to all the places at the same time. So when you go overseas and you meet friends there, you can actually get both. You can do what you want to do when you feel like it, and you can meet up with them when you feel like it too. Especially if you make friends with locals. For me in Korea, I made friends with a lot of international people, so we are all as lost as each other when we ask each other questions like, do you know where's this and that? We're like, you're asking me? But yeah, if you manage to make friends with locals, that will be great, because they'll be able to show you around the best spots in that area, which was what happened to me in my San Diego trip. Tip number 6 is to tap into the public transport system. After traveling overseas, I realized how entitled and how much of a luxury we live in Singapore, having such accessible and efficient transport system. However, the point is to really tap into their transport system, because that is how you will save so much money compared to taking a Grab, taking an Uber everywhere. And also, depending on the country, you'll be surprised that the traffic could be horrible, and taking a car does not get you anywhere faster anywhere. Yes. So also, this could be something that's more specific to me because I don't drive, so my options are kind of limited, and to save on money, I really got to tap into public transport. And even if you do drive, if you have a license, it's kind of expensive to rent a car, and petrol prices are rising like crazy recently. So I would say that your best bet is to tap into public transport. But do your research beforehand, because it could greatly affect your itinerary. If you're in places like San Diego, which I was in, the frequency of the buses are like an hour or so each time. And some buses don't even run on the weekdays, they only run on weekends. So you really gotta like plan properly. If not, you're just gonna end up spending a lot of money. Last 2 tips from me is that it's okay to take a break. I know a lot of times when we travel, we pay so much money. I say this so many times in my video, we pay so much money to fly here for accommodations. We feel the need to make the best out of our time. However, especially if you're on a long travel trip, sorry, I'm very bothered by the eye bags in this video. Okay, especially if you're on a longer trip, you gotta remind yourself that this is life and you're doing life as you travel. So just as like when you're back in your home country, when you don't go out every day, when you don't have activities every day, it's the same when you travel. So don't feel bad if you need days where you need to rest at home. It's okay to take a break. And this thought always eats me up, so I'm here to remind you that if this happens to you, remember what I said, it's okay to take a break. Resting has a purpose in the life. Rest has a purpose in life. And with that, I'm coming on to my last tip, Majima Tipu, which is ending on a lighter note, stay in contact with your friends and families even when you're overseas. When you travel, you're bound to get lonely and bored sometimes, especially if you're alone. If you didn't manage to link up with the right people, you don't have a lot of activities to do. Some days where you're just alone in this Airbnb with the 4 walls, you will feel so freaking bored. Yes, you will feel so bored and lonely. So but you still have your friends from back home, so make sure you talk to them, send them messages, update them about your travel, share with them your joy. Even if you're at a low period of your life, it's alright, there's no shame. Tell them that, I've not been feeling so good recently because of this and that. Share with them, talk to them. Don't forget about your friends just because you're overseas. Yeah, so that is my 8 tips for you if you're planning to do a solo traveling anytime soon. I hope this video is helpful for you. Leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't, give me a thumbs up, give me love. Yes, and share with me or ask me any questions you have regarding my solo travel. I promise that I will try my best to answer, as much as our traveling preferences may be different and I may not have all the answers you want to, but I'll try my best and I'll try to be there for you. And thank you everyone. See you the next one.
Pika Pikachu, Pika Pika.